this video, we're going to explore an area of the Amazon that lies in the northernmost area of Mato Grosso that borders the state of Amazonas to the west and the state of Para to the east. This area is located between the Juruena River and Teles Pires River and is part of the Juruena National Park, which is the third largest national park in Brazil. The main focus of this video will be on some long straight lines that starts and ends deep in the jungle, but we will also explore other curiosities that can be observed on Google Earth. The first straight line we're going to explore stretches 37 kilometers through the jungle. It begins and ends far away from any civilized area. There are no roads or other paths connected to it. There is not any logging activity in this area either. The line comes to an end at São Tomé River. These are the coordinates of the endpoint. Not far from this long line that stretches 37 kilometers, there is a row of white dots. I don't know if it's an image error or if these white dots are actually something physical on the ground. I can count 12 dots in total. The ones on the ends are more blurry. These are the coordinates of the white dots. Now we will go to another line southeast of the previous line. If you extend both lines, they appear to meet at a 90-degree angle. Here I'm pointing out the areas we have been exploring. Next we will go to an area west of the long line. This area contains a square measuring 740 by 740 meters. This square could be the result of illegal logging activity in a national park. The square is surrounding an elevated area, which gives a panoramic view of the surrounding jungle. Someone has marked this area in Google Earth with the text Piramide de cabeza para baixo, which in Portuguese means upside down pyramid. Here we can see the panoramic view from the top. Next we are moving to an area northwest of the long line. Here we find two relatively short lines compared to the others. These two lines are almost horizontal to parallels of latitude. Someone has marked the end of the line with trilha desconhecida, which in Portuguese means unknown trail. The line measures 3.87 kilometers. North of this line, we find a shorter line that measures 870 meters. The next line we're going to is 42 kilometers south of the northernmost point of Mato Grosso, where Juruana River and Teles Perez River meets. This line measures 35 kilometers, and the east end point of the line is at the Teles Perez River. Around 30 kilometers south of this line, we find a cluster of rows with white dots like the ones I showed earlier. The rows vary in how many dots they contain. "40 kilometers south of the line I previously presented, we come to an area known as the Lines of Apiakas. The area has several rectilinear and perpendicular patterns that can be seen with the naked eye. This area has gained a lot of attention lately, both in the press and social media. I will read from some articles regarding this subject. The first one is a press release from an organization named Tequila Research Association. I don't know how credible the research of this organization is, so keep that in mind as I read from the article. Quote, "In June, with authorization from the Brazilian Ministry of Defense and with their own resources, the researchers used 2 aircrafts to fly over and track the region with LiDAR technology. At the time, surprising aerial images of the region were released, which went viral on social networks and drew the attention of several media outlets. Ratanaba gained prominence in Google Trends, demonstrating the curiosity of people for the subject around the world. During the live broadcast, the geoarchaeologist Saulo Ivan Neri presented a preliminary analysis of the landscape. According to him, the presence of rectilinear traces differs from the natural erosive patterns of the region, pointing to the anthropic origin, action of man in the structures. Scientific studies show that there are no geological faults in the region, which rules out being a natural pattern. It is clear that the erosive pattern active in the region over billions of years have constructed forms quite different from those identified by the LiDAR method," Neri explained. Topographic and watershed surveys conducted by the Brazilian Army and the Brazilian Institute of Geography and Statistics were used in the comparative study with LiDAR images and confirmed human intervention. The water map shows that the identified pattern of the rivers is similar to the dendritic, that is, there is no rectangular or parallel river pattern that justifies the rectilinear lines of the area, much less landscape support of which the relief built is, explained the geoarchaeologist. The region monitored by LiDAR in the Apiakas lines has 95 hectares, and the floor plan of the site indicates at least 30 blocks and 30 streets. The main street is more than 16 kilometers long. The structures are at least 50 meters high from the ground." End quote. This article was published August 9, 2022. Another article was published in the Brazilian online news portal named G1, 18th of June 2002. In this article, written by Rogério Jr. and Carolina Mesquita, 1 month before the mentioned article was published. This article in G1 quotes the geologist Cayubi Kuhn from the Federal University of Mato Grosso. This geologist is of the opinion that apiakas lines have a natural origin. Quote, "These marks are natural geological formations and have had this shaped over time because of rain and wind. When these rocks are exposed to the sun, rain and other agents of external dynamics, the areas near these linear structures tend to be eroded differently from the rocks that are in the surroundings. That is, these linear structures are the result of modeling of the relief." End quote.